Yeah. Hey, Divinity.
Hi.
You came at the at the right time. We are dropping truth bombs here. That's what Claire is. She's absolutely just loaded with information and connecting the dots.
I just don't think that Amber Heard is smart enough to have decided to take out that kind of insurance. Why was she doing it? Now, there are very good reasons why she would do it. And that is in 2018, starting earlier in the year, Amber Heard became very politically active for the Me Too movement. She was the VIP guest at Vital Voices. She went to the Women's March. She spoke for UN Women. And then in the whole correspondence leading up to the publication of the Washington Post op-ed, there was a discussion in the emails about the risks of her being sued for defamation. And if you recall, at one point, the ACLU wanted to enter into the lawsuit that Johnny Depp had against her with her, which is peculiar. And Anthony D. Romero tried to avoid deposition. He didn't want to reveal ACLU's business relationships. I can tell you that all those nonprofits and victims' rights advocacy groups that signed that amicus brief a few months ago, they're all one and the same. They're all tied up together. Many of those nonprofits that signed that amicus brief also signed another amicus brief to the Connecticut Supreme Court in a case called Saifullah Khan, Khan, versus Yale University, because Saifullah Khan was wrongly accused of sexual assault. It went to a criminal trial. He was acquitted on everything. He turned around, he sued Yale for $110 million, and he sued the false accuser, and he maintained that the false accuser had been set up to do it, just like Amber Heard.
Oh my
God. And these nonprofits stepped in and wrote an amicus brief basically in support of this girl and saying essentially that false accusations should be fine and that it would set a horrible precedent if they weren't. And so thank God the Connecticut Supreme Court rejected their amicus brief first time round, because in their amicus brief, they said Saifullah Khan raped Jane Doe, the girl. And since he'd been acquitted of rape, the Connecticut Supreme Court rejected it and said they could resubmit their amicus brief shorn of all facts that hadn't been proven as material fact, i.e. they had to remove the fact that they couldn't say, Saifullah Khan raped Jane Doe. So they did resubmit, and the oral arguments have been heard, and I don't think a decision has been made yet. But it was there's a professor in Brooklyn called Casey Johnson, who's been magnificent at following these false accusations and Title IX cases in college campuses. And Casey Johnson commented that in the oral arguments, or maybe the written arguments in this case, that it was really peculiar that Yale seemed to kind of not distinguish itself from this girl and sided up together. So in other words, instead of it being the false accuser, Yale in the middle, and the Connecticut court system and Saifullah Khan, either four parties, that in their arguments it appeared that Yale and the false accuser were aligned together. So here you have Yale supporting a false accuser. Here you have Stanford supporting false accusers. It's dangerous. Mm-hmm. You look on ProPublica and you look at their IRS Form 990 returns, and you see the line items. They're earning a lot of money. you know, the ACLU guy, I think he's earning over $1 million now. And then the next person below him does like 12 hours a week and, you know, gets $300 and something thousand. I mean, so you can't sit here and tell me that the ACLU cares about rights or that they care about diversity, equity, inclusion, when they're all cleaning up like kings. Their non-profits aren't paying taxes because they're non-profits. And, you know, unlike the rest of us and our companies who are paying our taxes, it is absolutely disgusting.